Hey guys, it's Josh here. And if you've been feeling anxious and overwhelmed, then this video is for you. Back in 2023, I burnt out. I was extremely stressed. I got anxious. I was overwhelmed. And I vividly remember waking up on a Monday morning and going to the cafe to get a coffee like I usually do, and opening up my computer to look at my calendar. And I was just dreading the week. I remember thinking to myself, just fuck. I had a calendar full of client calls. I had a calendar full of prospect calls and meetings. It was just jam packed. And I just remember thinking to myself, fuck, like I do not want to do this. And I was dreading the week ahead. And I was really just wondering how I even got there in the first place. Now, I consider myself someone who's generally pretty calm and who's pretty relaxed. And I help people with stress and anxiety. And so to find myself in a position where I was burnt out, exhausted, super stressed, to the point where I just wasn't happy. Like I felt like shit in my body, and I really wasn't happy, and I wasn't even inspired to do my work, right? Now, this was back in 2023. So if you're feeling anxious and overwhelmed, I empathize with you. I've been there before, and it sucks. It's really hard. And, you feel trapped. You just feel like, how did I get here, and how am I going to get out of this situation? Now, if you've been feeling like that, then this video is for you, because I'm going to share with you how I got out of that situation, and really how I help others get out of this situation to this day. And there's one phrase that I want to just start with, right? And we'll talk about some other things, but this is the one thing that you need to do to start with, right? To regulate your nervous system. Okay? Now, you might be like, what does this even mean, to regulate your nervous system? You got to learn how to reduce the stress and the anxiety in your body. You've got to learn how to shift your state of being, right? You've got to learn how to go from this, stressed and anxious and overwhelmed version of yourself to someone who's calm and open and relaxed. And I'm going to tell you how to do that, right? And I want to do so with this concept, right? There's a concept which I like to teach called the big self, little self. Okay, so this is the big self, right? Big self. And then you also have, hopefully you guys can see that, little self. Okay, so here's your little self and here's your big self. Now, the little self is the person with problems. So in my case, back in 2023, right, I was trying to grow the business. I was a newly parent. Like we had our daughter was only a few months old at that age, at that time, and I was newly married, and and I had a bit going on, and I was really kind of strongly identified with this little self, this little Josh Holiday, who needed to fix all the problems and who needed to do everything, right? So I was really identified with this little version of me, and I was trying to fix all my problems and control all my problems by myself. And I was really trying to control things and trying to fix things. And the more that I did that, the more that I tried to control and to fix, then the worse it got. It just kept getting worse and worse the more I tried to control things or fix things. Okay. Now, this is really a spiritual concept, right? This idea that you have a big self as well. So this big self, you could call it consciousness, right? You could call it consciousness. You could also just call it God, or all that is. Whereas this is the self, right? And the ego. Okay, so this is like your little self. So let's just say this is Josh Holiday, and whoever you are watching this is your name, and then there's another person watching it, there they are, another person, there they are, and another person, there they are, and another person, there they are. So you've got all within the big self, right? All that is consciousness exists. All these little selves, right? So this is all of us people with our little lives and our little problems, okay? And if we are just so tense within our little self, right? And you're feeling anxious, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're probably feeling tense, you're probably feeling pressure, you're probably feeling small or almost contracted in a sense, like your body's probably literally tensing up, and it kind of creates this stress in your body, right? Now, when you learn how to let go of the little self and connect with the bigger self, a more expanded version of yourself, the stress starts to go away instantly. You start to be able to let go, to trust, to surrender, and this regulates your nervous system. This actually will regulate your nervous system. And I want to just give you an example of this right now. Check in with your posture. How are you sitting right now? Literally just check in with your posture right now. Are you like bent over like this? Maybe you're eating. I don't know if you're watching this while you're on the toilet or something, but you're probably like kind of like this a bit, right? Now, what I want you to do is just take a deep breath and just to open up. Open your posture and become literally a little bit bigger, right? Expand your sense of self. Take a deep breath. And just notice how your body starts to open up a little bit. And you start to create more space for the energy to come back in to your body, right? Start to notice how you might, even just from this little act of sitting up straight and opening your posture, taking a breath, you actually start to move into a more regulated state. You start to actually feel a bit more calm, a bit more peaceful, right? This is kind of how easy it can be. It can be this easy, right? Now, I know that if you're experiencing the overwhelm and the anxiety, right, it might feel harder than that. It might feel like more of a challenge. However, I guarantee you, if you are consistent with this, if you be consistent and you put in the work on a day-to-day basis to make this a priority, you will open yourself up to a whole new state of being. This is exactly what I help people do on a day-to-day basis, right? Sometimes people get stuck in this anxiety and this overwhelm for weeks, months, even years. Some people I know I talk to have had it for years, like, and never been able to change it, right? Now, if that's you and you want some help with this, then in the description of this video, I'll put a link to a free training on my website. You can go and check that out, and it will tell you how I can help you go from anxiety to alignment. But really, it's about letting go or learning to let go of this little self, right? Your ego. And it's about learning how to connect with the big self, okay? So it's really a spiritual journey that you go on. Now, you have to understand that this is not some woo-woo stuff, right? This is actually probably the most truthful thing that you will hear this today. We all have access to consciousness, God, all that is, right? When we are connected to that, we are in a nice, calm, regulated state. We feel very safe when we're connected to that. We feel very open. We feel very expansive, right? And in fact, if you're into manifestation or creating a better life, or you want more success, maybe you're so anxious and overwhelmed because you're trying to grow your business, or find a partner or something like that, find a loving relationship, manifest money, whatever it is, right? And you get all anxious and overwhelmed because you haven't got what you want, right? To do this, to connect with the big self, actually allows you to open up and to start to receive what it is that you want. When you're in this little self trying to control everything, right? It's very hard. It's very hard because you're just this little self. You're just this little ego person trying to do stuff, right? And you force things and you try to make it happen. And I know that because I've been there before. I've been there, right? Back in 2023, I literally experienced that, right? So when you can let go of this little self and you can like drop your ego and drop your pride, you can start to connect with something bigger than yourself, right? And this is where you're really going to find your power. You're going to find peace. you'll find more purpose, and it's arguable that you'll even find more prosperity. Right? You will be able to manifest all the things that you want much more effortlessly when you're in this big self. Because the idea is that this big self holds all that is. Everything that you could possibly ever want already exists in infinite potentials, right? Within this big self. So here, let's even say, for argument's sake, we're only going to talk about you. If you believe that there are multiverses, an infinite number of multiverses and parallel realities, which quantum science is now starting to prove, then let's just say this is you, right? So this is you, but this is you, 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 and it keeps going around and around and around and around and around. And all of these versions of you are different possibilities and different potentials. Okay, so there's a version of you in here who's rich. There's a version of you in here who's poor. There's a version of you in here who has a loving relationship. There's a version of you in here who, you know, is single, is broke, you know, doesn't have legs, you know, has 10 kids. There's infinite possibilities of potential yous, right? There's infinite possibilities of potential yous, and they're all this little self. Now, what if I told you that you could actually just shift into any version of this? You could shift into any version that you want. You could shift into any version of you want. So there's a version of you here who's anxious and overwhelmed, but there's a version of you over here who's peaceful and calm and has purpose in their life and loves what they're doing, right? What if I told you that was a possibility? You could just shift from there to there, right? I believe it is a possibility, right? But it won't happen when you're so identified with this one little version of yourself, right? And you're just this one little version of yourself trying to make things happen, right? You're in the ego and you're stuck in this one little version of yourself. And because you're stuck there, you feel so anxious and you feel so overwhelmed and you're just dysregulated. It's just a shit show. You're trying to fight life. You're trying to resist life. You're not going with the flow of life and you're not allowing life and reality and consciousness to help you. You're not allowing God to help you, right? But when you do, when you open yourself up to a big self, you can just shift over to here, and then you might have some fun over there, and then you decide, now I want to do this, now I want to do this, now I want to do this, and you start to become the conscious creator of your life, right? Now, this is just step one, okay? Regulating your nervous system is just step one, because what you have to realize is, like, if you are in this state, you're anxious and you're overwhelmed, step one is you just need to reduce the stress and anxiety. So we can get to all of this stuff down the track. But probably if you're in this survival state, the first thing that you need to do is just learn how to regulate your nervous system and relax and open yourself up. Because then once you do that, then it becomes easier to shift around into different realities. But right now, if you're just stuck here and you're just, you know, if you're dysregulated, your body is out of balance. Like your body and your mind are not operating well. You're not thinking properly. You're tired. You're exhausted. You have no energy. You're just stuck in survival mode. You're just trying to survive in this little version of you here. And it becomes very hard to do stuff. So the first thing you got to do is just get yourself out of survival mode. Learn to regulate your nervous system, right? Become more open and expand your sense of self, right? Because once you do that, right, you'll start to enter into the flow of life. Things will start to become more effortless. And then once you do that, then you can go on to, you know, shifting into parallel realities and consciously creating your reality and all of that. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you want to learn more about how I can help you go from anxiety to alignment in life, I'll put a video at the end of this one. And again, you can go to the description and I'll have a link to free training on my website. And I can show you how I can help you go from anxiety to alignment, right? I know what it's like when you're stuck in it. You feel like you just want to put your head in your hands, and you know you feel like there's no way out. And I get it. So, you know, here's the little gold nugget for you to finish this session today, to finish this video, right? You think that you've got to do more, right? You currently think that you've got to do more, right? Don't do more, right? Stop doing that, right? This is a big no-no. You think that you've got to do more. Stop that. Just stop, right? Stop that. Just literally just stop. Take a day off if you need to. Just stop, right? What you really want to do is be more. That's what you really want to do. You don't want to do more. You want to be more, okay? So how do you do that, right? Well, there's lots of different ways. It's pause. Like I said, stop. Open yourself, right? Posture. Open. Literally, that's it. Just open, right? Breathe, right? Do some breathing, right? Meditate. Pause. Open yourself. Breathe. Meditate. Be still. Just be still. I know it'll probably feel uncomfortable for you. You probably just want to do more because that's what you're used to doing. You're used to just doing, and to stop and to be would probably feel uncomfortable for you. I know sometimes it does for me, and I know it does for a lot of the people that I work with. Right? So stop doing. Right? Start being. Don't try to do more. Start working on being more. And if you can do that, I guarantee you, all of your problems will just dissolve, right? You'll find your peace. You'll find your energy again. Your confidence will come back. Your happiness will come back, right? You'll find alignment in your life. But it doesn't happen by doing more, right? That's what everyone wants you to believe. Our culture tells you to just do. And don't get me wrong, if you want to do that, good, go and do that. I don't know why you're still watching this video. You can do that. You can push, hustle. I know I've done it in the past. That's kind of how I built my business, to be honest. I did a lot of doing and I push. And maybe that's where you're at in your life. And if so, then, keep going. But if you're in a stage of your life where you're feeling like, there's something else, like this it shouldn't be so hard. Surely there is like an easier way, a way that will bring me more peace and happiness and joy. If you're at a stage in your life where you're thinking that, then stop doing and start being. Don't work on doing more, work on being more. And again, if you want some help with this, there's a video at the end of this video. You can go and watch that free training in the link below. And yeah, let me know if this was helpful in the comments, guys. I read all the comments and I reply to them as many as I can. So if you found this helpful, reply in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you want more help, go check out the free training. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks.